I've got my Paslode nail gun. This is an awesome tool, but if you don't regularly service them, they're going to start to misfire and drive you crazy. I'm going to show you right now how you can service your own Paslode in less than 10 minutes. All you need to do is buy this Paslode degreaser and Paslode lubricant oil. I have myself a little container. This is just to catch all the excess degreaser that I'm spraying. I've got myself an Allen key. This is the Allen key that comes in your Paslode box, and that's just to undo these Allen screws on the back and also the top of your gun. I have myself a cloth to wipe the tool down with, and I've just got myself a little small screwdriver. First thing I'm going to do is let's remove this battery. Let's take it all the way out, and let's get rid of our fuel cell, our gas at the back as well. I'm also just going to remove any nails that I have in it. Starting with our Allen key, there's 2 Allen screws at the top here that we want to undo. If we have a close look, there's 2 here on the top. We're not touching those. You've got to slide it to either side in these little gaps here, and that's where you find these screws. And just keep unscrewing these until you can't anymore. They're not actually going to come out of the gun, they're going to stay attached. Then we're going to turn our gun over, and I'm going to pop out the filter pad at the back here. Just going to click that out like so. And as you can see, my filter is quite messy. We want to make sure we keep this clean at all times. So I'm going to grab my degreaser, and we're going to spray our air filter with the degreaser just over the container so I don't make a mess. So that's nice and clean now. I'm just going to leave it on my cloth for the minute so that can dry out. I'm going to grab my Allen key again and loosen these 4 screws at the back of the gun. And these screws are going to come all the way out, so I'm just going to place it on my table. Now with those screws out, we can take the body of our gun out. So what I'll do is I'll start lifting it from the front, and as I'm lifting it, I'm going to want to pull it forward very carefully, so we don't damage and dent any of our fan blades at the back here. Now if we have a look at my fan in the rear of my gun right here, this is completely dirty. So I'm going to go over with my degreaser and give this a complete spray and completely clean this out. I'm going to get my cloth now and give that a wipe down. I'll wipe all that degreaser off and clean anything that hasn't come off with the degreaser. Now I'm going to grab my oil, and you'll notice there's a ring here behind the fan, and I want to fill that up with oil. So you notice there's 2 rings here, and if we have a look at them, they both have a gap where the ring stops for a few millimeters. We want these gaps in the ring to be 180 degrees opposite. They should come opposite, but over time, picking up the gun, putting it down, these rings may be a little bit out of line. And for optimal performance in our gun, we want to push one around so it is 180 degrees apart away from the other one. Now with that done, we're going to put this to the side, and we're going to work on the main piston of the tool. If we have a quick look down into where the piston is right now, we can see how dirty this is. So we'll grab our screwdriver. We want to make sure it's got a rubber end of the screwdriver. And we're going to go into our cylinder, and we're going to push that all the way back. Now that's opened up, I can grab my degreaser, and I'm going to spray it with degreaser and give it a clean. So there's no harm in spraying too much degreaser. I always like to go a little bit overboard and make sure the tool's clean. As you can see, I'm spraying it while my tool's angled, so it's going to drip out into my container. Now I just want to get my rag, put my rag in there, and just clean everything off with that rag. So you just want to have a good look into your cylinder, make sure that's all clean. The degreaser works really well, and it should get rid of most of that carbon buildup. Now we want to re-lubricate our tool. We're going to get our Paslode lubricating oil, and we're just going to drop 5 drops of that into our cylinder. I like to drop the oil on a few different sides of our cylinder walls, and then I like to spin the tool around so that the oil coats all around the wall. Now with the oil coated around the wall, we're going to push back the firing pin, and this is going to push back our piston and coat it with that oil. Then we want to get our screwdriver, push it down back all the way forwards again, and just keep repeating this process a few times so that all that oil coats our cylinder walls. So we're just going to keep going back and forth a few times until it starts to feel a little bit smoother. Now I'm just going to get my oil one last time and do a few drops just around here. Now with that done, we're going to push our firing pin all the way back, and it's important you do this before you put the tool back together. Then we're going to get the body of the tool, and we're going to reconnect it. Once again, we want to be very careful about these fan blades and angle it in, and making sure we don't knock any on the way. Now I'm going to get my Allen key again, and we're going to start by connecting it at the front first. We want to make sure we tighten these Allen screws first before we reconnect the back of the tool. We'll get those nice and tight, and then we can just visually inspect our tool, and it should all be sitting flush and looking good as new. I'm going to put my filter back in the rear of the tool. I'm going to grab my grill and lock that in place. Now we can sit this back on the rear of the tool. It should slot into place quite comfortably. We'll get our last 4 Allen screws and we'll screw these back on. And that completes our Paslode surface.